Welcome Sagittarius Ascendant, Sagittarius Risings. Hope you're doing well. This is April 2020, your new moon video. New moon will be on the 22nd of April. This is Central Standard Time, depending upon where in the world you live. It could also be on the 23rd. It happens like 9:30 p.m. in the evening. You're going to want to know that because we're going to set intentions. Intentions are powerful at new moon times because we have the sun and the moon together. And when they're together, the sun represents our vitality, our strength, our light. The moon is our emotions, and emotions are energy. And Sagittarius Ascendant, what you're going to do for your new moon is plant your seeds of intention for the things that you want going forward. The things that you have been learning with Aquarius, I should say Uranus in Taurus energy, all about highlighting things that you value that make you unique, right? Finding out that not so many people may have the same desires, the same needs that you do. This is what this is all about, understanding how you're unique, and yet at the same time, how your uniqueness works in group energy, what you value and how what you value, what your abilities are, how they can contribute to the group. So we're going to dive deep into the Sagittarian astrology. We have the new moon at 3:24 in Taurus. The sun will be at 3:24, the moon's at 3:24. Some of the other degrees we have going on in planets at this time on this day, which is the 22nd of April, are going to be Mars at 16 degrees in Aquarius energy, sending a beautiful sweet trine to Gemini energy. It's going to be at 15 degrees. Or I should say Venus energy at 15 degrees in Gemini, and this is wonderful. Let's find out where in your life this happens. You want to understand where the new moon happens in your life. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk in depth about the new moon energy and its polar opposite. New moon's in Taurus, so the polar opposite is Scorpio. We're going to find out what area of your life that's in. This way we can set a proper intention. Proper meaning you're going to be utilizing the frequencies that are available to you. Instead of trying to swim upstream against the current of the flow of the water, against the flow of the energy, you're going to be going with the flow of the energy by utilizing the frequencies that are beaming down to you at this time. Now, the Taurus energy is typically going to be in your 6th house. Okay, Sag? If you're looking at your chart and you're like, hey, gee, no, it's not. I'm looking at this 3:24 Taurus mark, and it's in my 5th house. This could be. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It has everything to do with the birth time is, because your birth time has everything to do with what degree of Sagittarius is on your rising sign. And so whatever the degree is on your rising sign has everything to do with the following degrees and signs and their placements within a house. If you don't know, comment your stuff below. If you do know and you just want clarity, or you have a specific question, same thing. Comment your digits and I'll help you out. So 6th house is your work, is your health. 6th house is your domestic life. It is your pets. It is your daily routines. Yes, I said domestic pets. The 6th house is, some people say the 6th house is like hidden enemies. I don't know all about that. I'm not real, yeah, I guess they're hidden, so I have no clue. But this is some of the ancient astrology. I know the 12th house is the, obviously the opposite of the 6th, and the 12th house literally is normally energy or enemies that you're not aware of because they're from the past life. So I guess the 6th house in a way is enemies. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misspeaking. Maybe they're not hidden. Maybe it's just the house of enemies. But I don't really talk about that. I don't even think I've ever mentioned that. Why I mentioned it right now, I have no clue. Just came up. So maybe this is relevant here for you, Sag Ascendant, Sag Risings. So 3:24 is where the sun is going to be and the moon. This is on the 22nd of April, but you're not going to set your intentions on this day. You're going to wait. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit when you're going to wait till, because there's reasons, all right? On the day of the new moon, we have Mars and Venus trining each other, which is lovely. Mars is actually going to be in that Aquarian energy, and that's in your 3rd house. Your 3rd house is a big deal. It's always a big deal for all of us. But in particular, you want to really learn about your 3rd house. Your 3rd house is how you think. Okay, it's how you communicate. It's how you talk. The third house is how you speak. It's how you express. The third house is also our short distance journeys, our travels. And when I say short distance, that's like, you know, to and from work stuff, right? Going down to the street to the grocery store. Just little jogs that we take. Now, the third house is also the communication, but what people are in that third house? This is typically siblings. And if you don't have siblings, it's people that can feel like siblings. Can also include co-workers. Can also be people that live with you, right? Right? Think about it. When you're a kid, whoever lives with you, if it's not mom and dad, it's your siblings. But as an adult, whoever lives with you, roommates, right? They would be considered siblings as well because they are in your immediate environment. And that's what the third house is. It's my immediate environment because it's my daily activities, my daily routines. It's a lot, yes, it sounds a lot like the sixth house. I totally agree. Well, interestingly enough, Gemini, third house, sixth house, Virgo, they have the same ruler, Mercury, right? So you're going to see similarities and that's going to make sense. Now, Virgo being in your sixth house, or I should say Taurus in your sixth house, is all about your health and your well-being. So that means when it comes to your health and your well-being, because Taurus represents stamina, right? Endurance. You have the ability to do long-term things and to finish them. However, not real good at starting them. Think of the bull standing in the pasture. The bull would kind of like just stand there, seemingly half dead. They don't move for hours. They just stand there. But when they see something they want, right, or if they get angry, they charge and they go after it. They go after the bullseye, right, and they get it. But once they're moving, they're pretty good. They keep going, okay? They're consistent. You can rely on them. They're earthy. They're dependable. They are very deep. Now, people have a hard time understanding that Taurus energy sometimes because the opposite end of the Taurus energy is Scorpio, right? And Scorpio is way deep. It is below the surface stuff. So inside of every Taurus is that Scorpion energy. It is their soul's energy. Scorpio is your soul. Ruler's Pluto is your soul's energy. So it's very hard. The soul energy isn't something you sit and talk about on a regular basis with folks, right? Many people can't connect that way. They're more on the surface. They're more about, did you watch this TV show? Hey, did you go, you want to go shopping? Or let's talk about food, right? It's talking about the tangible, physical, material world. The soul stuff has nothing to do with that. The soul knows that the 3D world isn't even real, that it's just what we're doing for this one lifetime. The soul has lived through many lifetimes. This one lifetime ain't jack to the soul. This is just one act of the entire play. Just one scene, one personality. It's a very small part of the soul's existence. So when you think about, wow, these people, I don't really understand them. They don't seem to give a shit about anything. Well, now you understand why. Because there's greater depths there. But also understand, not every Taurus may understand this about themselves, okay? There are things that escape lots of us. And understanding something that's hidden is usually, well, it's a cult language. It's a cult. And so it's not out front and in the open. It's not easy to understand. But it takes time. It takes patience. It takes a willingness to stay in the game and to wait. And that's what Taurus energy has, is patience. It has the ability to be like, okay, let's see where this goes, right? My first impression could be wrong. I'm willing to wait and to see what happens. And Taurus is great for that. But we want to really investigate the opposing side. Because when it comes to setting a new moon intention, we're going to be talking about your Scorpio energy. So for Sagittarius, Ascendant Sagittarius rising, new moon at 3:24 in your sixth house. Again, check to see if that 3:24 falls in your fifth. It could. And so that would change the meaning of it because the sixth house is health, is your work, your job, your daily routines, right? Your health habits, hygiene, right? I'll start bringing up hygiene. Other than just health, it's also hygiene. The 3:24, if it falls in your fifth house, then this would be a whole different thing. It's my romantic partners, it's my children, my creative projects, my endeavors, right? It's romancing, it's dating, it's how you have fun, it's how you take a risk, right? It's all about being creative and having fun with my body. The fifth house is sports, it's athleticism, okay? So it could be a workout thing. But understanding the new moon intentions and going to its opposite then will tell you what area of your life, what kind of energy you're going to pull in and harness for the new moon intention. So the opposite of your sixth is your 12th house. That's where your Scorpio energy is. All right, now your 12th house, having your Scorpio energy there, it's going to make you extremely psychic. You're going to be connected to a lot of past life stuff. It's just going to be, you're going to be a deep individual, first of all. And you may not know that about yourself either. But there's going to be things that you are thinking about, that you're mulling around in your mind, things that you maybe have had dreams about. And by the way, pay attention to your dreams, because having Scorpio in the 12th house is dreams. It's the house of Pisces. You're going to get information because Scorpio is a very psychic sign. All right, because it's deep. It's on a soul level. It can retrieve information, right? It's like Akashic Records information. It can retrieve things from other lifetimes. And by that, it can also retrieve other deep relationships from other lifetimes. Because Scorpio energy is relationships that have been connected by a deep sense of emotional bonding. That is Scorpio energy. Some people just simply say, well, because they had sex, they're bonded, right? It's not just about a sexual thing, okay? You know, you could do whole videos on that, and I'm not going to go there. Because there's a lot of different ways to look at that and to dissect it. But understanding that it's deep and it's below the surface, it's not something material and tangible. It is something ethereal. It is something 5D. It is part of your soul's journey. And so harnessing that 12th house energy, harnessing the dream world, and understanding that when you're going to be setting your intentions, you're going to be asking, this would be what I would be doing, finding out if there's something you want to know, ask that question before you go to bed at night. When you're sleeping, if you have a dream, you wake up, write it down, if that's possible. I know everyone says it like it's so easy, right? And I know it's not. Trust me, I know. I used to journal dreams like all the time. And you get a lot of information when you do that. You want to make sure things are dated. And you want to usually write about them as soon as possible, because typically over time, your reality will distort what was actually occurring in the dream, because your logical mind steps in. Your rationale takes over and says, was it that? And then the rational thinking comes in, and it kind of distorts what was actually experienced in the dream. But over a period of time, you'll see an understanding about those dreams. You'll see a timing. You'll see information that through living and through your experiences, you'll be able to track and look and say, oh my gosh, this in my dream was then, and then this experience I had later on was at this particular time. And over years, yes, years. This is how you keep a spiritual journal. It's not something you do every now and then. This is a commitment. And that's if you're up to that sort of thing. If not, that's fine. But that's how you tap into the 12th house energy. That's how you learn more about your subconscious, because it's stuff that is not going to be very obvious to you. And some people say it's a great placement for, or a good time to have psychotherapy, like meaning you're going to be talking to a therapist and doing all that. Well, hey, I'm all about free. And I'm pretty private. So for me, journaling worked out great. For you, you may have some other means or some other thing you have to do. Now, do you have planets in this house? This is what you're going to look for. See if you have something opposing the new moon. You might. The new moon, again, 324. So see if you have something in Scorpio at 324. And if you do, definitely pay attention to your dreams. Now, let's move on to some other things that are going to be happening around this new moon energy. The new moon energy, I want to get back to your third house. Typically at this time, because Mars is in Aquarius at 16 degrees, and Mars, that means, is in your third house, and it's sending a nice supportive trine over to Gemini, and Gemini energy is in your 7th house. Is that right? Yeah, you have Gemini in your 7th house. Now, this is beautiful. This means Mars and Venus, the masculine and the feminine energy, are getting along. And they do for all of April. And they have been since the beginning of April. And this is nice. Understand that coming up, okay, when we get to like June, this isn't going to be the case anymore. Mars and Venus are going to be squaring each other. So utilize this energy right now while you can. This is between your third house and your seventh house. So this is third, like I said, can be coworkers, can be relationships, can be siblings. And your seventh house is significant one-on-one relationships. This is a really good time to start having talks about things that may have happened in the past, but never got sorted out. Okay, this doesn't mean to like create something. This only means if there's someone in your life that still exists, that's a part of your life, but there were things that you could just never sort out or talk about, topics that were too hot to touch. This is a time when both the masculine and the feminine energy should be very compatible, and you should be able to sort through things that you couldn't sort through before. Hot topics. You know what I'm saying? So this is all for the month of April, okay? However, after the new moon, the planet Pluto, actually on the day of the new moon, Pluto is standing almost still. Pluto starts to really slow down because it's going to go retrograde. Pluto goes retrograde like on the 25th, 26th of April. And when Pluto stands still, remember it's the rotor-rooter, okay? So if the rotor-rooter isn't moving while it's drilling, okay, it's then just standing perfectly still. Well, when it's standing perfectly still and drilling, it goes down further and further and gets deeper and deeper and deeper, which is more intense. Pluto is power. Pluto is your soul. It's intense. Pluto demands things. It wants to just start new. And so it goes down deep to grab something by the root and get rid of it, because it's all about, this is outdated. This doesn't work anymore. This is what was. We're going towards the future, to what is, to what our future will be. And we don't always know what that's going to look like. So it is a time where Pluto is fear. Let's remember that. It's a time where we have to remember, do not let the Plutonian energies of fear, this is a low expression or a vice, I will call it. The virtue would be, I have faith, I believe. Because Pluto does want what's best for us. Pluto isn't like this evil. Pluto is, I want what is best for your future. That's Pluto. And so when we get it, when we understand that, we know that, okay, if there's something ending, this is going away, that means this isn't part of my future. It's the best way I can think about it, right? Think about being the explorer, the adventurer, like, okay, I get to do something new. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to meet new people, right? And God, if you're under lockdown, new sounds kind of good, right? I know we want things that are stable and familiar. I get it. But folks, we've been talking about this for over 6 months now, that this change was coming. And this is what 2020 looks like, a big change, okay? Because outdated systems are now going to just dissolve, and we have to implement new structures, new ways of being. Now, Pluto is going to be bearing down for you, just so that you're aware, in the Capricorn energy, which is your second house. Now, your second house is your resources, the things that you value, your income. Okay? Remember, this is also about how I value myself. Okay? Taurus energy, your second house, is not just the tangible resources, but how I value me. But because you have Capricorn, it really is focused on the 3D world, because that's what Capricorn is. Capricorn is all about form that's been built over a long period of time. That's why I call it traditions. And a lot of people don't usually say traditions, because traditions, in essence, is an abstract thing, right? But not when we think about like institutions, right? In government or in religions, these are like buildings. We call them churches, right? We have banks, right? We have the Capitol, the state building. We have all these physical structures. We are used to business being that way. We are used to religion being a certain way. We are used to having certain rituals and ceremonies. This is an abstract way of talking about form. And understanding that that's all changing for you, and has been, right? It's been changing because Pluto's been in your second house for the last 14 years. So you've been going through this deep transformation of what you value. Remember, you valuing you is part of that. Knowing and loving yourself is a big part of this. Now let's get to your new moon intention. Your new moon intention, your Scorpio energy being in your 12th house. I already told you what it's going to be about, and what if I was the Sagittarius ascendant Sag rising, I would be saying, okay, I want information about my future. I want information about what is the next correct step. I want information about my next partner, right? This is that 12th house energy with Scorpio there. It's deeply bonded relationships, but likely it's past relationships. It's folks you've been with in the past. And when I say past, I'm talking about past life. And if you don't like that, then think about it in terms of family lineage, okay? Think about it in terms of ancestors coming in, right? Spirit coming in and talking to your grandfather's grandfather. Think about it in that way. And getting information from them, information that can help you move forward to take the next best correct steps for your future. Write these things down. Ask these things before you lay down to sleep. You know, have your little notebook beside the bed with your pen, and have the list of your intentions set up. Now the timing is going to be on the 24th of April. This is my recommendation. This is when I am setting my intentions. April 24th. Anytime you want during that day. By then, we've got the moon more solid, more comfortable in the Taurus energy because it's earth, it's grounded, it's fixed. You know, when the moon just comes out of Gemini, it's very flexible, it's very airy and thinking, it's more laughing, it's not as serious. Taurus is more about focused on things being very practical and very stable. And so you want the moon to be very stable before you wish in it. Okay. The last thing I'm going to mention is that after the new moon, I already talked about Pluto going retrograde and Pluto drilling down and getting more deeper and feeling more intense. Your Capricorn energy, your second house of what you value. We are going to now look at your, let me find your Cancer energy. Your 8th house is where your Cancer energy is. And I have to mention this because if Pluto's drilling down, you want to know, you want to set up in your chart, you want to see if you have anything like at that 24 or 25 degree Libran energy, 24, 25 degree Aries energy, and 24, 25 degree opposite of Pluto would be your Cancer energy. That's your 8th house, and that is your committed 8th house. That's the Pluto stuff I talked about. That's the Scorpio energy I talked about. You want to know what you need. You want to know what will work, what kind of a partner will work for you to make a home, because you have Cancer in that 8th house. So your 8th house without a partner, for you, home is empty without a partner. This is what gives you emotional stability. So this is giving you that little extra bit of information, okay, to help you to hone in on being more receptive to listening to your dreams, listening to your intuitions, okay? Not going outside of yourself as much as you have been doing. You have a lot of valuable tools, Sagittarius ascendant. You have many tools because the placements that you have, you've got watery planets in the watery houses, deeply spiritual, extremely intuitive. It just comes down to, can I listen? Can I quiet myself long enough to hear what my soul has to tell me? To hear what these deeper connections I have on the other side, spirit guides, to listen to the words and their guidance that they are giving me. Sagittarius ascendant, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comment below. Enjoy your new moon of Taurus 2020. Bye.